Hello and welcome back to my channel, Cards by Melissa Minor. Today we're going to be taking a look at Pink & Main's April 2024 Crafty Courtyard kit called Daisy Days. I'm also going to be bringing in some additional products, and those products I will leave linked down below in the description box. All right, so let's take a look. The first thing I'm showing you are the beautiful sequin mix, and this is exclusive to the kit. And then we've got these gorgeous sticky pearls. And then this month, their pattern paper is a little bit different. It is 5.5 by 8.5 pattern paper. Usually they have a 6x6 pattern paper pad that's double-sided. This paper is single-sided, as you can see, but it is larger. And so we've got these beautiful designs. I love the polka dots. And then we have this 6x6 stamp set with these beautiful daisies, butterflies, and sentiments. We have sending cheer, hello friend, thinking of you, you are my favorite, wishing you the best, and have a beautiful day. And then you also receive the coordinating dies. And then there is a 6x6 embossing folder with these bricks. Love this. Then you get this paper that shows everything that the kit includes, and it has the color palette listed. And then on the back, it has card sketches. Now I love this, and I use this as my jumping off point for today's cards that we're going to be making. Let's take a look at the cardstock. We have Street Light, and this is called Park. And there's 2 sheets of Riverwalk. It's just real pretty blue. And then this is a metallic specialty paper called Wildflowers, Barbershop. Then we have Pebble. And then there's 2 sheets of their Ice Rink, which is their white cardstock. And then there is a mesh zippered project bag that's also included, which you can store your contents inside. Let's start our first card. I'm bringing in this Good Vibes die that I've cut out a circle, or scallop circle rather, using the Street Light cardstock. And then I've also cut out a sheet of 3x5 and the Street Light cardstock. And then I'm bringing in this pattern paper from my stash. This is from Pink Fresh Studios, and the collection is called The Simple Things. This pattern paper I've cut to 3x4 1/4. And then I have a sheet of black cardstock here that measures 2.5 by 3 1/4. And then the dots paper, 2 1/4 by 3. I've stamped the daisy and cut it out with a circle die and layered it on top of the scallop circle here. Then I've stamped the sentiment and used the coordinating die that says, you are my favorite. So this is sort of like one of the sketches on the sheet that was suggested. A little bit different, but it is similar. So I'm going to be using my glue press here from My Sweet Petunia to glue all of my pieces down. And I did use my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers, and I used the Magenta Blend marker to color in this daisy. And I love the way that that turned out. So I'm going to layer these pieces. I'm going to layer this pattern paper on top of the black. And now I'm going to glue this yellow, this is the Street Light yellow cardstock, onto the white. And this is a white card base, standard size, A2 4 1/4 by 5.5. And this pattern paper, again, that collection was The Simple Things, and I thought that it matched the Street Light cardstock, and then it also matched that Magenta Blend marker that I used. So I like that it tied the 2 colors together. And then let me glue this down. And then I want to add this scalloped circle here. Let me grab some foam dots because I do want to pop this up just a little bit. I'm going to be using the 1mm foam from scrapbook.com, and this is their thinnest foam. I want to add some dimension, but not a whole lot, and so I love using this thin foam. Gives it just enough. So let me peel the release papers here. And before I glue this down, I do want to make sure I have just enough room. So let me glue the sentiment down first. I do want this in the lower left corner. So I have "You are my favorites," and then the pretty daisy here just above it. There, I like that. And to finish the card off, let me bring in the sticky pearls. Let me open these up. And I think, let me look at these. I think I will go ahead and use the yellow. Yeah, the yellow I think is going to match the best here. So let me add a couple up here. I like to, when I add my embellishments, I like to add them in a group of 3. So I'm going to add 2 up here in this upper left corner. Oh, if I can get them, they're sticking to my finger. And then let me add 1 to the lower right-hand corner to kind of frame this in. All right, here is a look at our card number 1. All right, moving on to card number 2. I have all of my pieces stored over here in the large scrapbook.com storage tray. And I'm using the pickup tool from Pink and Main here. I have cut the blue dots paper that came in the kit to 4 by 5 1/4. Again, I'm using a standard A2 size card base. And for this one, I have cut a little sheet of the ice rink cardstock to 1 3/4 by 4. And I'm going to glue this down across the top here on top of the blue dots paper. And then I've cut a sheet of the Riverwalk blue, just slightly smaller, to 1 1/2 by 4. And I'm going to center this up along that white piece, so there's just a little bit of white showing at the top and at the bottom. And then this is the beautiful stamped daisy image. And with this one, I only colored in the stems and then the center of the daisies, and I left the daisies white. So this was super easy to color using just the center and then the stems. Made it really quick. Let me put a little more glue over here just to make sure that stays down. But I love the way that looks. Let me use this tool to help pick this up. And then for the sentiment, have a beautiful day. So let me put that right here. I'll press that down. And then I want to bring in some of these sticky pearls. So let me use my tool this time so they won't stick to my fingers. The tool makes it a lot easier. So let me just slide them off the card here. And we'll put 2 up here on the top and then 1 down here on the bottom of the sentiment, just to frame that sentiment in. And there we go. There's card number 2. Super simple, but I love it. All right, moving on to card number 3. So this is going to be another A2 size card. And for this one, I'm going to bring in this die, which is called the diagonal cover die. And so I went ahead and used the Streetlight cardstock with the diagonal cover die, and I've cut that out. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that onto a piece of black cardstock, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so let me press that down. And then I went into my stash. Here's the beautiful daisies. For this one, I used a lavender marker and put the center of the flowers in yellow. And I'm bringing in some ribbon from my stash. I love adding ribbon to my cards. I just think it helps elevate your cards. And so I found this purple ribbon, and it really matches the daisies. So when I'm using ribbon on my cards, I like to use tear tape to help hold the ribbon in place. If you just put the ribbon on the cards without the tape, you know, the ribbon can come up or come off the cards, or it just doesn't really stay in place very well without tape. And glue sometimes bubbles. So if you use the tear tape, it really helps hold your ribbon in place and you can't see it. So let me get this peeled up here. And so I'm going to stick the ribbon down on top of the tape Let's see, let me get this lined up. I want to make sure I get it straight. There we go. And then we flip this over. Now I could have put tear tape on the back, but I have a ton of this Scotch tape laying around. So I'm going to grab a piece of Scotch tape and I'm going to put a piece secure on this side, and then I'm going to put another piece of tape over here on this side. Let me press that down, and oops, I got a little crazy with the tape and it's hanging over the side. So let me get my scissors here and just trim that off. And there we go. So we've got the ribbon secured in place. Now I've went ahead and tied a bow, and it's sitting there in my tray. So I'm going to grab a glue dot, and I'm going to place the glue dot up here onto the ribbon, and now I can secure my bow. So that is one way that you can put a ribbon and bow on your card. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back of my stamped image here, and I'm going to get that pressed down on my card. I love purple and yellow. I feel like so many cards that I make are this color combination, but I just keep coming back to it. It's my favorite. All right, so I have that pressed down. Let me pick up my sentiment. This tool really comes in handy, not only for picking up the release papers, but for helping me get die cuts and pieces out of my tray. For some reason, when you have nails, it's hard to pick up things. So this tool comes in way handy. All right, so I have my sentiment pressed down here. There we go. Thinking of you. I'm loving this card. Let me put some glue here on my card base. And let me give this a good press. And there we have it. And that makes card number 3. Perfect. Perfect. I love it. All right. Moving on. Let's move on to card number 4. All right, for this card, I'm bringing in that brick stencil or brick embossing folder, and I'm going to be using my Make machine. So let me turn it on. Turning it on to number 3 so it can get heated. So you can see here I've used the embossing folder, and I'm also bringing in the A2 size shaker window panel. So I've done this off camera, but what I've done is placed a little sheet of the brick embossing panel. I've done it in the white cardstock and placed it inside the shaker panel. You just I've peeled up 3 sides and stuck it in there. And I've left the top open, and now I am going to put that specialty sequin mix that came in the kit. I'm going to pour some in there, and then we are going to peel back the release paper on the top portion to secure this so that we can have a little shaker for our card. So let me get this pressed down. And there we go. Oh my gosh. Those sequins really just pop against that white brick. I love that. And so it's going to end up going on this card base. But let me set this to the side so we can start working on other things. All right. So I'm bringing in this green cheer foil. And I believe this is called... the sentiment is from the spring foil panels, possibly. I think that's the name of it. And then this amazing tool, this is so awesome. This is called the Spellbinder's Quick Trimmer. And it is so amazing. It easily trims foil right down to the size that you need so that you have less foil waste. You can also trim sentiment strips with it. It has this self-healing mat, and it comes with this trimmer plate, and it has a foil plate or foil blade and a paper blade. So it makes cutting foil so easy. I can't imagine now what I did before I had this. So you just lay your sentiment down, And then you just put this guide on here and you use these marks and you just line it up. And then you just use the tool and you cut it. So there we go. I cut out just what I need for my foil and there's less waste. So I'm not wasting this gorgeous foil. All right, so I have my piece of foil cut out from the green cheer foil. And let me dust this off. I don't want any dust on here. So I'm gonna place this inside my sheet here and let me run this through my Mink machine so that can start foiling. And then I've also used the stitched rectangle frame dies. I believe they came out last month. They are amazing. They cut out like all the frames at once. It's the frame die that you put it through your machine and it cuts out, I don't know, I think it's like 8 frames all at one time. I just was like, the first time I used it, I was like, whoa, did that really just do that? So I went ahead and used the specialty cardstock that came in the kit this month. That was the Wildflowers. It's like this orangey metallic paper, or cardstock rather. And I want to put that on the outer portion of my shaker panel here, just to kind of tie that together and finish that off. So when you're adhering things to the shaker panel, I feel like if you just use glue, it kind of slides around. So I like using this tear tape. I struggle with tearing the tape, like peeling off the release papers, but I'm making it through it. So I'm sorry that you're having to watch me peel all this tape off. But the tear tape really does help stick. You don't have to wait for it to dry or hold it in place or anything like that. So it really does help stick your image down. So you can see here, I'm just lining this up and sticking it right down. I don't have to wait for anything to dry. There we go. Oh my gosh, look how that Wildflowers color that came in the kit just matches those sequins perfectly. I love that. And then here we go. I foiled that. And that green is in the color of the sequins. That matches perfectly. And for the sentiment, happy spring. And I love just the simplicity of the white with the white sentiment. I feel like that's really the style right now with cards. It's just the real simple white look. And then we've got the pop of color with the outline and then the sequins. It just really pops. So I was trying to decide, do I want this in the center or do I want this on the side? And ultimately, I decided that I do want it on the lower corner. So I decided that I want it in the corner here. So I went ahead and I'm going to stick this down with some foam tape. And then I went ahead and put some tear tape here in the center. Now, looking back, I wish I would have put tear tape all around the 4 edges. I'm adding some glue here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you're making this card along with me, go ahead and put tear tape around all 4 edges on your card base. It will just save you time in the long run because you'll see here, I'm pressing the card down and I'm having to hold it and press it. And I'm going to come back in and add some more glue. And you won't have to do that if you add tear tape all around the edges. So there we go. I love the way that the sequins just really pop. Here I'm adding a little bit more glue. And let's get that. Let me just get that pressed down. And let's see here. Yeah, so you can see if I just would have not been so stingy with my tear tape, then this would have worked out a whole lot easier. So I'm almost finished here pressing and gluing this down so that this card can be finished. But I just want to make sure that it's not going anywhere. And the glue does work. The glue is great, but you just have to hold it for a moment. So there it is. Here's a look at my card. I love the way this one turned out. So let me bring in all the cards we made today. Here's another look at the cards we made. Leave me a comment below on which card was your favorite. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. I appreciate any time you shop my links, as that helps support me and my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.